Hi, so I'm going to be going over my second journal entry for my multimedia and the Holocaust class. This time I decided I wanted to focus on what we were talking about this past few weeks, which is propaganda within the Third Reich during World War II. With the propaganda, it went both ways. One, showing that the Aryan race was the master race of all of the other races. And then it was also showing propaganda saying that the Jewish people were the lowest of the low and they couldn't even be considered people, more like parasites. We viewed a propaganda film called The Eternal Jew, which took to the spectrum on the side of the spectrum of anti-Jewish propaganda. And I didn't realize how far they would go to create an image for the Jewish people that is negative. In the film, they try to make it seem like the Jewish people are um, dirty, uh, deceiving, deceiving people who try to trick you out of anything and everything. It was, it had the most ridiculous um, statistics within it about the Jewish people. Like, for instance, it said uh, Jewish people consisted of 1% of the population, whereas of Europe, I believe it was, or the world. But there were 82% of international crimes, 98% of prostitution, 47% of robberies. And it was ridiculous to me that people actually fell for this because this is, I mean, 1% of a population could make up so much of this crime. Like, I didn't understand that actually people fell for this kind of stuff, but I guess after a while of being brainwashed, who wouldn't believe it? There was, throughout the Eternal Jew, it emphasized that the Jewish people were a parasite or a disease that the German people had, that they needed to get rid of and dispose of. So it was really on the spectrum of very anti-Jewish, and it was viewed as one of the most dis- disgusting views of the Jewish people. On the other side, though, of where the German people were viewed as some great thing, was a film called The Triumph of the Will. Completely other spectrum. It glorified Hitler. It glorified the Nazi Party. It made them seem like this greatest thing in the world, that they were the best people to be, that Hitler was godlike as he's coming from the clouds, and the way the camera angles were, he was taller than everyone, and everyone's always smiling, and there's Nazi flags all over the place, so you can see it. It's like subliminal messages. Um, the film itself was really great. The content that the film is showing isn't so much. Like, the way it's filmed is pretty cool for this time period. Apparently, it was the first time that they were shooting from inside a plane, outside of the plane, from the plane. Apparently, that was interesting. In this film, actually, uh, it also showed the extent to which the German people wanted everyone else to see the Nazi people as this great thing, because they the person who was filming the film had complete control, so she could redo speeches because it was filming a rally. If you're looking at both types of propaganda, it's really interesting because then you really see, you really notice what exactly they're trying to emphasize and who exactly are they attacking. And because in order, like I said in my last one, people always try, like, if you want to try to put yourself in a higher place, you always try to put down somebody else. And in this instance, the German people were putting down the Jewish people, the gypsies, the homosexuals, all that, but mostly the Jewish people was the most emphasis, apparently. Um, One other thing that we viewed that wasn't really propaganda, though, was a film about a survivor of the Holocaust. And that really hit me. It was called One Survivor Remembers. It actually won a Grammy, I believe it was, or an Oscar. That's the same thing. But crazy good. It was the whole time I was captivated by her story. It's about a woman, and she was really a teenager, my age, when everything happened. She went through a death march, and you see her explaining everything, and it was so depressing. And you can put yourself in that place. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna cry myself right now remembering it, because it was really, really depressing. Uh, she was with her best friend, and her best friend dies in her arms because she's so sick from this death march. She hasn't eaten and it's cold, and was, I think, out of the whole class itself, that video really put it into perspective of what happened, because the rest of the time we're just reading about it, or we're watching films that are propaganda. We're not really watching a film that is a survivor's memory of what happened. It's all from somebody else. In this film, it's her talking about what happened to her, and then it's showing images, and it's describing. It was really, like, she was explaining that she probably would have died too if it weren't for, like, boots, and she was deathly, like, skinny, and it was crazy good, but it was, like, super depressing. I was, like, watching it in class. I'm trying not to cry in class because that's really embarrassing. But really, at the end, when she's finally saved, and she finds this girl that she had a bet with, and she's dead, and it was really a tough movie. I'll say that. We also learned about Kristallnacht, which I already known about what Kristallnacht was, but we watched films about it. We saw pictures, and it was crazy to me. Like, I don't really understand. I guess Kristallnacht was apparently viewed as the turning point for the World War II, the start of the Holocaust, as some scholars say, apparently. But the things that have amounted to people wanting to break somebody's home and employment because they feel like someone's vermin. I mean, to be later done in the 60s, mind you. To have someone, you have a family, but someone wants to end your family and ruin your family. There's somebody, and I understand that fear, because, like, I would be scared too if I was put in that position. One of the pictures we were shown was a picture of a broken synagogue, which is the church of the Jewish religion, the synagogue, if you didn't know that. And that brought such anger to me. That is like this supreme disrespect of someone's culture, someone's history. Like, mind you, most of them are, like, really beautiful and stuff, so it's like art, it's history, it's someone's culture. Someone put hard work into creating that, and you just break it down. Myself, I might not be extremely religious, but I understand the fact that you should not disrespect someone's religion, not disrespect something so holy. Even if you might not believe in that God, someone does, and that is a God. That, you're also disrespecting. And who's to say gods don't speak to each other, you know? But yeah, it was a complete disrespect. Of looking at it, and it was just like I couldn't look at it anymore because it was getting me really frustrated. Because I'm like, why would someone do that? Because it's really super disrespectful for someone to do. Honestly, the way the propaganda films were made, should be viewed in a way that to study them, um, even though the content of it is ridiculous. The way they actually filmed it, the angles, the precise moments of what type of music to put in the film, and how something is viewed, uh, was really good. So I mean, the Nazis wanted it to be really good. They wanted people to be on their sides, of course. But anyway, I'm going to leave on this note. I will try to get journal number 3 up soon.